Hey everyone, welcome to Chuck's Guitar Geekery. Today I'm going to talk about how much better beginner guitars are today than beginner guitars when I first started. So this Harmony guitar from JCPenney circa the early 90s is exactly like the one I had when I first started. My original one was the first one I really experimenting with modifying, and I chopped it up, I hacked the body all up, I chiseled out the neck joint to put a full-size neck on it, I did all sorts of crazy stuff, and it's not playable anymore. I came across this one at an auction. Look at this. So I started on something just like this when I was 7 years old back in 1992. Begged and pleaded for Santa Claus to bring me a drum set for Christmas, but he brought me one of these instead, so I guess my parents owe him a debt of gratitude for not bringing the drums. Even though I got drums later when I was in high school, but that's a different story. So compare that to this Firefly guitar here. Now these go for about 120 bucks, new. And it is just a night and day difference between these two. Although they're both white with black guards, double cutaway type style. This one, pretty darn good playing guitar. This one, on the other hand, I mean, I guess it got me started, but trying to play this one, oy vey. There's just so many design flaws with this. First, it's a plywood body. There's no markers on that side of the neck, so you have to look over the neck to see where it is. I don't know if you see the angle of the body to the neck, but it definitely needs a shimming. But the problem to shimming it is these pickups are as high as they go, and they're still about ½ inch and about 3/4 of an inch below the strings there. So I thought about shimming the neck to increase the angle, raise the bridge a little bit, but then the pickups would be so far away they wouldn't pick anything up. And what's the point of a pickup that can't pick up anything? And both single coils are just on all the time. You got the tone knob and a volume knob and the output. And this bridge is the worst design I've ever seen. I remember trying to change strings on this as a kid, and it was just a nightmare. And when I got this one, I was reaffirmed of that nightmare. The tuners are garbage, the nuts garbage. It actually has a 0 fret, which is weird. It's off balance because this plywood body is so light. So when you were a kid, before there were just guitar centers in every town, your parents had to write a check, fill out a form that came in the JCPenney wish book catalog that came in the mail. They had to mail that check to JCPenney pretty far in advance of Christmas to make sure this came by Christmas. Then that check would go to JCPenney, they would have to cash the check, and then they would fulfill your order. And this came with a little amp, which that's been long gone. But the fun thing is, I remember looking this up last year, and I can't remember the price of this in 1992. But escalated to $20. This costs about 200 bucks adjusted for inflation. So 200 bucks to get junk. Compare that to this Firefly. Now it's actually mahogany body, it's a single P90. The only thing I've changed on this is I did have to replace the bridge because the bridge that came on it, this guitar was unplayable because it was way out of tune with intonation. And actually, going back to the Harmony, I'll have a close-up of the bridge again, but there's no way to adjust the intonation on this, so pretty much once you get above the 5th or 7th fret, you start getting out of intonation. It is what it is, and this thing's full of... I mean, I don't know where this was for the past 27 years or so. So you could definitely cut yourself on some of these fret ends. Anyways, back to the Firefly. I mean, I did have to do some work. I did have to file the nut, replace the bridge, and I'll have a close-up. Kind of used a couple of washers just to raise the P90 up closer to the strings. On the contrary, this is a great feeling in playing guitar. I mean, maybe not the best, but $120 versus the Harmony, which is $200 in today's dollars. There's really no competition. So for everyone starting these days with beginner guitars, or just if you're like me and you're obsessed with cheap guitars, this is almost like a golden age of them. All the craziness in the world right now, and getting stuff from certain parts of the world might be a little tricky moving forward. I have no idea how that's going to play out. If I could have had this when I started, who knows, I could have been the new insert guitar hero here. I don't want to start a competition over who's the best guitar hero here. Just like my grandparents would tell me how lucky I am to have a school bus to take to school instead of them having to walk in the snow barefoot uphill both ways to get to school. You kids starting today, get great cheap guitars to start with. hopefully that's something, maybe the next generation will become great players, because when it's easier to play, it makes you want to play more. Sure, I started on the harmony, but I took every chance I could to play my dad's guitar, because it was way easier to play. You get a PV Predator from the time. But as far as why cheaper guitars are better now, I mean, I think a lot of it's automation, really. Like, I'm sure most of this is CNC machined, which I really know nothing about manufacturing, but I like to think automation is a big part of it. Maybe there's more guitar players now, so they're able to order stuff in bulk, get cheaper deals. And, I mean, the harmony's made in Taiwan. This is made in China. Anyways, hit that subscribe button. If you love cheap guitars, I like cheap guitars. That's what I do a lot of on this channel. If you're if you're someone here just perusing around thinking about starting guitar, do it. Quit putting it off. There's so many tools online to learn how to play guitar, and there's still, I mean, whenever you're allowed to go be face-to-face with a person, there's plenty of guitar teachers, I'm sure, that'll love to have you. But even if you're not, I'm sure there's a local store that's doing Skype lessons near you, so definitely go support your local stores and your local guitar teachers. And once again, I'm still amazed I managed to learn on something like this. The one I had didn't have this Explorer headstock on it. It had a funkier looking headstock, but pretty much the same guitar. I have it in bits and pieces in another room. Maybe I'll take a picture of what it looks like now and insert it here. Yeah, pretty rough. I went through a sticker and duct tape and just butchering the hell out of things face. But it was one of the first guitars I learned how to modify and just trying random stuff on, see what happened, and now I'm comfortable working on all my own guitars, so maybe a positive for that. But anyways, hit that subscribe button, hit that share button, hit that thumbs up, hit that notification bell. Try to support your local guitar teachers as much as you can if you're a beginner trying to find a beginner guitar, and count your lucky stars you get something like this instead of what I had to start with. So anyways, till next time, cheers!